ready to roll with another legend. I don't even think we need to introduce this gentleman, Mr. Dave Shields. Been part of the program for forever, I'll say.
Well, I came here in 1971.
It's quite a program, Mr. Shields, in the sense that we think about it when you go back to 1971. Tell us what your thoughts are as compared to when you started here and where we've come along this what I call a long journey.
Right. Well, in 1971 we didn't win a game. And in 1972 we won one game, so we were like 1 for 13.
Was that around the time of the Harpo curse?
That was around the time of the Harpo curse.
Okay.
And Coach Mike Craze retired. And a name that we don't often bring up, or I was thinking of this just in the last couple of days, again, who was an important part of the building block, was then athletic director Stan Winnekainen.
Yeah.
Hired Jerry Workentine, who had been an athlete here back and graduated in 1965, and he was a good athlete. He had played baseball at SC4 for 2 years.
Right.
Transferred to Eastern Michigan as a baseball player, but also played football. And coached after he got out of college for a couple years, I think at Willow Run, if I'm not mistaken. And then we hired him back here. And he started, about a 13, 14-year process.
And if you think back to those times, because my brothers were playing back then, there was certainly a step up in the level of play in the competition then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're getting in the mix,
right,
competing against the St. Clairs, the Algonacs, because back then
Algonac was good.
Algonac was good.
Anchor Bay was good,
yep.
And Marysville was king.
Yep.
And yes, they were right off the bat. We became pretty competitive.
Port Huron Central.
Yep. Port Huron Central was still around, and they were good.
Yeah.
And so Jerry worked very hard at it. And, and the kids start to buy in, and there were some really good athletes back then. But it was changing the culture, changing to a winning culture, which isn't easy, I don't think, at any level.
Well, I think you noticed it up and down the River District here.
Right.
In various stages at any given time.
Yep.
With some neighboring towns, but I look at that, and I look at Bill Amiel also and Larry Rombach. Those guys,
yes.
Those three were sort of the
pivotal
guys.
They were the equivalent of what then became later on Bob Siskevich, Tony Scarcelli, and Ryan Blovich.
Yeah,
and they really did, and they worked very diligently at it, and the kids bought in, and the parents bought in, and they hit their pinnacle in 1985 when we won a league championship for the first time in 40 years. Made it to the playoffs, and it was a celebration for this town. Right off the bat, you could see how much this town enjoys their high school football. Yeah. And we got to the semifinals and ran up against, again, one of these Dearborn Divine Child teams that had a defensive front line that were all going to Big Ten schools, and it was a cold, cold day in Flint. Yeah. At Atwood Stadium, an old minor league baseball field, and we just barely missed it. We almost got it.
Isn't it funny how you could, I always say, you can't remember what you had for lunch yesterday,
but you can
remember the weather to 1985, but the details.
Yeah. It reminded me of Ortonville, Brandon.
Yeah.
Although this one was field turf and that one was AstroTurf,
right.
Which is a little harder to hit when it's 22 degrees out. It's like playing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
But it was a similar kind of a thing, and to some degree, the opponent was similar in that this is a pretty giant opponent that has a lot of fastbacks, and that was a great game.
Yeah. Now, most of the people close to the program know and are aware that you do the public address at the stadium. Mm-hmm. How many years have you been doing that?
I don't really count, but I did it a couple years back here at Ward Cottrell Field, and I've done it for all the years at East China Stadium. I did radio with your partner Jerry's cousin Jack Dragmiller on WSMA for about 3 years. Back in the early 80s, and I kind of handed that one off to Jerry, actually. Yeah. And so it's I've been doing it since the early 80s in one form or another.
Right. I liken it to a scenario where the program got really good, but I think now it's just gone to another level the last half dozen years.
It really has. I know Coach Bob had talked to me one time when we both were still working here in this building, before we both had retired, and he told me personally, he says, I never dreamed we would have this kind of success this consistently. He said, I thought I could build a winner here, but or I inherited a winner, and I thought we could continue to build that and be, you know, consistently a pretty good team, but I had no idea that it would become like this.
It's almost like I look at it like it's like this recipe that Grandma gave you, and you put all the ingredients in, you think it'll be pretty good, and it's just unbelievable. And I think that's where we're at today.
Yeah. Well, I think we are, and I think it's also one of those things where, you know, football's an interesting game. It's a wonderful game that a lot of people can play.
Yeah.
And people can make contributions from different kinds of levels and different kinds of areas.
Sure.
And I mean, if ever we saw it this year, we saw it with our extra point field goal kicker. I mean, which was a wonderful story in and of itself. But the story of different people switching positions,
Right.
new young man coming to town who really did the quarterback position very well, which is an intricate position in this offense. And we all knew that Jared Matheson was a good athlete.
Right.
But switching to fullback, he became a much more of an athlete than I ever dreamed he was. I knew he was very, very
Well, Jerry
good.
and I did our preseason interview, and we talked about it, and we said, I think the big question will be, how will the new quarterback play, and how will Matheson take to the role of changing?
And both did a spectacular job. Yeah.
Grand slam, both parts.
Yeah. And then you look at Tate Sapienza, whose junior year got interrupted by serious injury.
Yep.
And so, you know, you never know, well, how is that going to be? You know, sometimes you only get 2 years usually.
Right.
Some of our kids now have had 3 and 4.
Right.
But he had a fabulous year. And I look at this team as that each little contribution
Oh, yeah.
along the line from every player, including a lot of them that didn't get major playing time, was really integral. Because when you win these real close games in the playoffs, it's a team effort, and that's the beauty of this team.
I always bring it back to the fact when my son played on the 2007 team, he was a junior, come playoff time, didn't play, I don't think, at all, and I'm okay with it, because it's just a cool journey.
Yep.
He comes home after every game, this is the greatest day of my life.
Yes, yes.
That tells the story right there, really.
Yeah, and I think every kid felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's what's happening out there on the practice field with people on their scout teams and all that that leads to this kind of performance here. But this was a wonderful crew. And that old acronym about team, together everybody achieves more, really fits this crew to the hilt.
Yeah, there's no superstars.
Yeah, no. But a lot of real good high school athletes who played well together.
Right.
And their execution, I think, in the playoffs, lack of penalties and so forth, execution on big plays, is what took us to Ford Field, and then, you know, what really took us into the championship. Again.
Well, that's like I said to Jerry, and I think I said to you, the opening game against Marysville in the playoffs, we hadn't played well against Point Huron Northern. Part of it, a couple of kids were out.
Yep.
Weather was cold. Point Huron Northern's probably better than what was advertised.
Sure.
And then Marysville, while we won, we didn't play a tremendous game. I thought, we're going to be done after this. I mean, if we don't get better. And every game we got better. And when you look at the schedule, it was as tough a schedule, I think, as you'll find in any division.
Oh, yeah.
Every week.
Oh, yeah. This was not an easy draw for the playoffs. Playing Marysville twice wasn't easy. I mean, they had a scrambling quarterback, and that can always cause you trouble.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately, he ran east and west more than he did north and south.
Yeah.
Richmond, the only times they lost this year was to us.
Yeah.
And I think they were a very talented team with talented athletes. I mean, they were runners-up in baseball last spring and have a bunch of all-state wrestlers. Country Day is always loaded and dangerous. I know a lot of people, including some of the folks over in Notre Dame Prep, you know, thought they were going to go all the way.
Right.
And we got them somehow, again, with kind of the miracle catch in the corner. Reminded me a little bit of the Allen Park game from, 1990,
I just saw that recently.
1994, 95, when...
Where did I see that? I saw that somewhere this past week. It might have been on Scott's program. Or
probably, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Griefor drops it.
Matt picks it up as the Allen Park guys.
Again, you can't remember where you were yesterday. But
Yeah. And the defensive back from Allen Park falls, and Wes Cammer's in the end zone wide open, and our sideline explodes. So
I said something to a parent back in '07, and after we won that championship, and I said, let's soak this in because I don't know if we'll ever do it in the rest of our entire life.
Sure.
Now we've been back twice.
Yes.
Still feel that way.
Yeah.
You pinch yourself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it really has been amazing. That is an incredible achievement. And really, it's a case of who knows, because again, football, the breaks can go one way or another. A kid can get hurt at the wrong time. We're lucky, maybe we had our couple injuries to Kenton Rivard and Jared Matheson, and they held them out against Port here in Northern for the final regular season game. Because I think once you got to the playoffs, you needed everybody healthy. And if you remember right, last year, when we got up against Richmond in the playoffs, AJ was out, and AJ had a phenomenal season.
Oh, that would have been the difference, yeah.
Well, it's hard to go up against those kind of teams if you're injured. Yeah. And so those are the things that can make or break you.
Luck.
And intangible, and anytime you make it to the top, it's a lot of hard work and a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
And we've done both, and it's been wonderful every time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you feel the same way being up there in booth doing announcing. It's just a joy to be part of it, right?
Oh yeah, it's fun. It absolutely is fun.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, well, hey, maybe this should be it for me. My eyes maybe are getting a little cloudy and whatnot, but it is a fun thing, and it's a wonderful thing for this town. And when you see the kind of turnout they get at away games, and when you see the turnout they get for their parade on a cold, rainy night, I thought, well, geez, maybe just a couple of parents and grandparents. The town was mobbed, so it was a fantastic thing for the community, and a lot of hard work for the boys, and it's wonderful, and girl, and wonderful to see them get their recognition. I think, I really think probably in the fourth quarter at Ford Field, when it became apparent that we're going to do this thing again. Grand Rapids South Christian has a storied program too. I mean, Marysville got them in 1986. Right. They've been around in the state championship for a long time. Grand Rapids is the second largest city in Michigan. This quarterback, I've got a brother-in-law who referees basketball in that league, and I asked him what's going on over there, and he said, gee, this Wasink is, that's all you hear about in the Grand Rapids media. And he said, so he's the real deal. And here again, the team took it on, and they got it done.
I think, obviously, it's the team effort, but I was just blown away by the fact, the preparation these coaches did.
I guess when you say that also, I had the fun part of spotting. You get one spotter up for the MHSAA announcer. And so you're up on the 7th floor of the old Hudson's warehouse building. That's pretty high up looking down at the field. And you really have to have the binoculars to try and find the ball, but you do have a good view. But when I scanned the binoculars to the sideline, and I saw Coach Bob, and I saw Brendan Kay, and I thought, well, this is really cool, because the legacy is there. And when, I don't know if you were in the locker room, when Coach Bob gave the talk.
Everybody, like, my hair stood up on my arms.
But when my son told me Coach Bob's going to give the talk in the locker room, I said, you know what?
Things are lining up.
I think we're going to win this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we did. I'm so glad we did.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it. I'm proud of these kids and the coaches, and they just have done a wonderful job, and we're all enjoying it.
Yeah.